Man, I woke up, I was watching memes on my phone, and I ended up seeing a comment on a take I've seen from a lot of people. So he goes, a woman's worth is based entirely on the number of men she had sex with. Nothing else matters. Not her career, not her degree, not her money. Crazy. If you marry another man's leftovers, you will live in shame and embarrassment for the rest of your life. She will never respect you. She will always compare you to the big daddies from her past. You will never find peace. When you marry a woman, you're paying full price, whether she's a virgin or has a body count in the dozens. So why pay full price for a woman in her 30s that has been used and abused when you could get a fresh one in her prime that's still sealed just for... Why buy a used car with high mileage for the same price of a new car with zero mileage? Question mark, question mark, question mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Only a sad clown would marry another man's ex. Again, I've seen many people share this very same sentiment and ideology. I do have an unpopular opinion about this, so don't expect me to just point out the obvious counter arguments related to this, but there is one here that I feel is deeply flawed. This mentality or take people have about a woman's worth being entirely based on one simple statistics rather than the many things that define a human being, such as their character, intelligence, achievements, and the inner work that they do, is completely dehumanizing and feels outdated by several hundred years. By claiming, quote, nothing else matters, not her career, not her degree, and not her money, it completely erases the whole premise of someone's accomplishments. Obviously, he's talking specifically about women, but men also get judged for those same things. A man not having a career, not having a degree, and not having money. A man's value can also become minimized and heavily judged due to that. Being broke or not having a solid foundation as a man will make women and men perceive you in a specific way. They may not respect you because you're, quote, broke. They may even assume your intellectual level is much lower because of it. Oh, you don't have your life together? You must be a dumbass, right? Like a good example, and this is one that people are still adopting with. A good example is living at home. The economy isn't too good right now in terms of the cost of living. A lot of people live at home with their parents nowadays. But back in the day, that was considered a bit unusual for some, for many rather. And people would assume back in the day that you were broke or you were a mama's boy or something, or you can't be independent. Oh, so you living with your parents, you must be broke or stupid or you're not grown. I told y'all that I recently moved a few months ago, right? So just so you guys know, in terms of New York, even in the worst neighborhoods, even upstate New York, the cost of rent for a decent apartment here, not just a room, don't get it twisted, okay? A full apartment with decent inclusions is at minimum $2,400. I'm actually lowballing that too. That does not include utilities like gas, electric, water, and stacking this on top of all the other expenses you have in your life. Hey, it's not just New York. See the other places around the country, you know what I'm saying? You're probably gonna spend about $3,000 a month at minimum. This isn't really affordable to many. So it's very reasonable to stay at home. You got just $3,000 to just spend every month, and you may need emergency fund. Again, you have other bills. Do you have health insurance? You got to pay for that too. The premium health insurance costs a lot of money if you don't get it from your job. But I've seen people nowadays, regardless of what I'm saying, they'll still judge you for that. Oh, you don't got your own place? You broke. You're not successful. And other comments will be attached to that, right? And this is what I mean, that it's not just women who are judged for their financial or educational or workspace achievements. It's both men and women. I just mentioned education. I didn't mention how like some people, oh, you don't have a degree? You didn't go to college? You must be stupid. Oh, I have a degree. I'm 10 times smarter than you. Okay. All right. You know what I'm saying? I like it. Hey, so this argument in that comment doesn't really make sense, and it's coming off as insecurity and resentment towards women for whatever reason. Now, the other main point he makes here is about how someone's history may change their value. I'm not necessarily saying I disagree with this take in the comment. I don't think as extreme as he does, but let's be realistic here. Let's immerse ourselves into this. If you went on a date and y'all were talking about history, right? Your history. Y'all having a conversation about it. It's okay to be open with somebody about your history, right? Because you two plan to eventually do it, right? And she tells you she had 20 plus dudes run a train on her, or 20 plus dudes that hit, right? Am I supposed to high five her or something? Oh, golly, that's so good, bro. Like, what am I supposed to say? And for the females watching, how would you feel if a dude you're on a date with mentioned he smashed 20 different people? It does make you feel a bit uncomfortable, no? And I'll tell you why. Well, this is what I think why people feel uncomfortable about this. And this is just me personally, too. The concern to me about hearing that someone decided to have a lot of sex with a lot of people, right? It's not directly about the fact you decided to have sex with people. It just raises a question to me about how safe or impulsive this person is. I'm not thinking about the physical part. I'm thinking about them psychologically. Look, in my lifetime, I had 7 different partners my whole life. And some of y'all may think that's a lot, but I don't think that's a lot. But let me tell you this, okay? None of those, me having 7 different partners, none of those came out of a non-relationship. I never had a one night stand, you know what I'm saying? Furthermore, 6 out of 7 of those relationships, because I'm in one now, 6 out of 7 of them didn't work. And that's why you may think that it's a lot, but do you know that that's not me including the other relationships I had in my life? I just mentioned 7. I've been in a lot more relationships where I didn't even get to crack yet, because it fell apart. Now, what does this show about me? You're probably judging me right now, right? Or if you were to judge me, right? As you guys have seen from my story time videos or other videos on this channel in general, I do have issues maintaining relationships. Some of it is rooted from trauma. Some of it is rooted by my history of mental instability. Some of it is rooted based on my habits in life that ruin relationships, like gooning, for example, which I think contributed to a lot of things falling apart, because you're thinking what you know what. You remember I made a video of I forgot the title, something about the devil influences men the most by lust, right? So when someone tells me they've gotten 20 plus people who crack them, I'm thinking something may be off about this person. And women watching, I'm sure you may feel that way about a man who tells you their history. Like, something inside of you suddenly questions the compatibility, or if there are some issues related to their history. And that's exactly how I feel when someone shares their history. And it's a handful of people or more who feel that way too. You let so many people hit, or you're hitting so many people. Do you have some sort of lack of emotional maturity? Are you not compatible in committed relationships? Do we even share the same values of a relationship? I don't know. You get what I'm saying? And so, yeah, someone's history can definitely change their value. Does it make them less of a person, a human being, like the comment is basically stating as, quote, damaged goods? No, I disagree with that. But it might make somebody feel less appealing to them. But as I said, I don't take it as strange as the person commenting does. If someone told me the history they had, right, I'm not going to just walk out or walk away or just leave, right? Will I be hesitant to move forward? Absolutely. And that's only because of the reasons I mentioned. I need to understand someone psychologically, emotionally, whatever, and so forth before I decide I don't want to be another statistic to them. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I think when someone does sleep around a lot, I sometimes assume they have some sort of self-sabotage tendencies due to their impulsivity or their desire to be in intimate experiences, which again, then we got to have a deeper dive into someone's past and psychology, That's why I just don't walk away and leave. I feel bad for the person deep down, and I'm curious about who they are because of it. Think of it like a job resume, right? Your resume doesn't necessarily define your worth as a person. Your job resume doesn't define your worth as a person, but it may shape how people will perceive you. Numbers alone don't tell the full story, especially with the dating history or their history, whatever. When I was on dating apps, something I noticed, this is a pattern that I've noticed personally with my experience. Okay, this may not apply to you. Something I noticed is that on these dating apps, or when I was just going on dates with people, right? A lot of women who I met who openly shared their history, or we had a discussion about it because people asked me as a man, like mine too, right? People only act like men ask about someone else's history. No, women do too. And I realized that usually or commonly, people with a lot of history, they tend to also have a history of reckless behavior and emotional detachment, or they still actually actively have it. Reckless behavior as aggression. I said aggression, but I would say anger issues is kind of like, it's in the same ballpark, right? They have anger issues, aggression, they have drinking issues, maybe substances in general in the past or currently, and so forth, right? Like, it suggests there's a deeper issue, you know? Overall, in regard to the comment, this explains the title of this video, by the way, because I read this comment. This is what kind of first popped into my head, especially with certain things. This guy is rubbing off like he likes them young and vulnerable, or at least in a mentality where someone's sexual experience and their desires can easily be controlled and molded. You know, like he uses words such as, quote, fresh. And you saw he wrote still sealed and, quote, in her prime. It's like, bro, like, let me quote exactly what he said. A fresh one in her prime that's still sealed just for you. That's odd. That's implying a fixation on almost like, you look at that. Still sealed just for you. This guy is fixated on someone's virginity, which is often associated with someone who is younger or hasn't had many experiences. This is what I'm talking about with molding in people. And plus, he specifically mentioned the used car analogy, right? With the high mileage example, whatever, right? For women in their 30s. So he mentioned 30 specifically. So that means the 30 range is his cutoff. He likes going low for the age, like low, like based on other things he's saying. That's just weird to me. Both men and women, here's the thing. Both men and women who are younger tend to have a lack of development to build enough strong boundaries for themselves, which comes with age. The more you grow, the more you experience life, you start learning how to build boundaries. You start getting experience, right? Which is why you shouldn't be dating minors, and which is why it's weird to date where someone who is really old is dating a very young woman, right? You see all these like rich people, they like these really young women. You know what? Because they're impressionable to them. When you're young, men and women, okay, we're still trying to find our sense of self in the adult world through real life experiences, which comes with age. If you just deliberately target those who are younger and saying they're, quote, sealed just for you, it's like you're trying to say someone is perfect to mold for you because they haven't been tainted by others. It's rubbing off like an opportunity to exploit people or take advantage of somebody like this. Like, that's what I'm saying. This comment's weird, you know? Like, that's how I first perceived it when I read it, but I think he likes them young. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Anyway, what do you guys think? This episode is found on Spotify and YouTube. I'm out.